I'm Professor Doughton, and this is Computer Application, CAP 101 at Middlesex Community College. Today, we're going to have a series of individual presentations of their research projects on technology that they've been working on throughout this semester. I trust that you will enjoy these student presenters.
My name's Colby Arsenal, and my presentation is Music in the Digital Age, how technology has changed the music industry. I'm going to focus on how technology changes the way that we purchase music and listen to music, and how it's overall changed the music industry. So, the first image I wanted to show you guys was Michael Jackson's album Thriller, which is the best-selling album in the United States of all time. And it is certified 29 times platinum, which means it's sold 29 million copies. When an album goes platinum, it's an achievement, it's really good. Nowadays, not many albums sell that many copies. When an album goes diamond, it sells 10 million copies, sorry. And 500,000 is gold. And in like today's music industry, when an album goes gold, it's like a really big deal. So it just goes to show how albums don't really sell quite as much as they used to. And the reason for that is due to changes in technology, in music formats. And I'm going to show you a few examples of albums that have managed to sell despite the bad climate of the industry. The first one is Adele, 21, and she's like the biggest exception for the fact that albums aren't selling, because she managed to sell 10 million copies in only 2 years. She was the best-selling digital album of all time, and it spent 39 consecutive weeks on the top 5. And Taylor Swift her album Red was the fastest selling album in over a decade, and I'm sorry. The Justin Timberlake 2020 Experience came out like a few months ago, and it was the first album in 2013 to go platinum. And I thought it was significant because it came out like still in the first quarter of the year, but it was 10 weeks into the year, and for an album to go platinum in only a week, it just goes to show that, and it was the first one, it just goes to show that only a handful of albums sell that well compared to how they used to. So I'm going to go into a little bit of the changes in technology and why albums aren't selling quite as well as they do, or as they did. I'm sure you guys recognize what all these things are. It's kind of like the evolution. They had records and then cassettes, CDs. The radio's been around for a while. And growing up, you know, when I was a kid, when you wanted to hear a song, you either had to hope it was playing on the radio, or you'd have to go to the store, like physically get up and drive there and like purchase a whole entire $15 CD just for one song. And you might, you know, find a few other songs you like on it, but for the most part, you're spending a lot of money on music for, you know, only a few songs or whatever. So now that with the digitalization of music and iPods, MP3s, it's totally changed the way we purchase music and the way that we listen to it too, because now you can just, you know, easily go on iTunes. You don't have to drive anywhere, you know, it's all digital. And you can pick apart an album, you can just pick the songs that you want from it. You don't have to buy an entire CD. And it just makes it a lot more convenient. And it changes the way we listen to it, because whereas before, you know, you'd pop in a CD and you'd have to listen to that whole album, now you can mix up all different kind of songs from all different kind of genres, hit shuffle on your iPod and just go through it. So yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about digital music sales. 2011 was the first year that over 50% of albums were sold digitally. And that was 2 years ago, so you know, the way technology changes at like such a rapid pace, it's probably even a lot higher number by now. And single sales rose by 10.9%. And that's another way that it changed the industry, is that since people were picking apart albums and just buying individual songs, the focus switched from making a really good album to record labels wanting you to just get a really good radio single, because that's how they're making money now, more from singles than albums. And as you can see, CD, like the physical copies, saw a 5.7% decrease, which is nothing compared to the previous 4 years before 2011 when they dropped from 18 to 20%. So another way that technology has impacted music is piracy, which is really probably the biggest reason why albums no longer sell. And I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Napster. That was like the original peer-to-peer file sharing service. And as you can see, in the decades since Napster emerged in 1999, record sales have dropped by 47%. And according to the NPD, only 37% of music acquired in 2009, which was only 4 years ago, was purchased. So you know that number is going to be even lower as it's become even more easy, and illegal music is just even more accessible. And, approximately $12.5 billion in losses every year. And also I added that you can get a higher quality music file illegally versus the iTunes, which isn't really the top quality, although it is good. And another way technology has changed in the music industry is through album leaks, which is when your album will leak on the internet before it's actually released. And I chose this album because this was an album that I had been anticipating. It's by A$AP Rocky, he's a rapper, and it was supposed to come out on January 15th, which is my birthday, and I was excited for it, but it turns out it ended up going on the internet a month before it was actually supposed to be released. So it's just like, are you gonna get this album for free right now and you can have it, or are you gonna wait a month to actually pay for it? So I'm not like suggesting that you steal music, but I'm just saying that's like what gives people the incentive to download music illegally. And there is ways you can prevent it, and this is an album by Kanye West and Jay-Z called Watch the Throne, and it's the only album in the digital, only hip-hop album in the digital age to avoid leaking prior to its release date, because they released it exclusively through iTunes before it came out in stores. So that way, it was all digital. You didn't have some guy in the back room of a Best Buy. That's all it takes for him to get an early copy of it, put on the internet, and then millions of people have it. So this is, I just think in the future that this is how music is going to be released, like digitally. CDs are on their way out, and it's a risk to put them out at the same time because you're putting your album out. It's going to come out before the release date. But the reason they aren't really releasing all albums digitally first is because they're kind of cutting off stores. So you could buy releasing on iTunes first. Everyone's going to get it on iTunes a week before they can go get it at the stores. So. This is strategies that I came up with for artists in today's music industry now that everything's changed a lot. Releasing music for free is one way that artists are promoting themselves now, because everybody's used to getting their music for free now, so they figure they might as well put it out for free. A lot of people in like the hip-hop community will release mixtapes, which are just like free albums essentially, and they'll come out with like 3 mixtapes in hopes that when they drop a proper album, the fans will support them and actually buy it. And staying with independent labels, because it's not with the technology today, you can easily, if you're actually talented, you can put yourself and your music on the internet through different social networks and stuff, and it's easier to get found. You really don't need to rely as much on actually getting signed by major labels, because the artists really don't make a ton of money from music sales. They make most of their money from touring, so it's really probably smarter to stay independent and do what you want, and then you can just make money from touring. And strategies for major label executives, I'd say release albums that are reduced price because they're clearly not selling. People don't want to pay $10-15 for something they can get for free. So it makes more sense if you put it out for $5. I feel like that's a little bit more reasonable. Release albums digitally before they're released in stores so that they're not getting leaked and people are getting early copies for free. And also embrace the new technology and find new ways to generate revenue. I used the streaming service Spotify as an example. They don't make a ton of money from that, but it's just they have to find new ways to make money because people are streaming music for free, downloading it for free, and they just, they have to adapt to the new technology or they're going to get left behind, so they have to find new ways to make money. And this is just the future of the music industry. Just my prediction is that music is just going to start getting released for free, and albums aren't going to be released for purchase anymore. Just because now people are too used to getting albums for free and like music for free, so it's not going to backtrack. We're not going to be like, okay, we had a nice run, now I'm ready to pay for music. It's already at this point, and I feel like the record labels, like the major labels, won't play as much of a role, or just like a drastically different role, because like I said, like they're not as necessary. You don't need them to get found anymore. If you're talented, you can put yourself out there and promote, put out free music and whatnot, and make money from touring. You don't need these big record labels anymore. And that is my presentation. These are my sources.